It was one of the biggest parliamentary defeats ever for a sitting Prime Minister. Many of the dissenting votes came from within Prime Minister Theresa May's own party. As the results were announced, it was clear May had lost her authority and her voice.
On a point of order, Mr. Speaker, I profoundly regret the decision that this House has taken tonight. I continue to believe that by far the best outcome is that the United Kingdom leaves the European Union in an orderly fashion with a deal.
Lawmakers were frustrated that May had earlier failed to secure a watertight agreement in Strasbourg to limit the so-called backstop that would keep Northern Ireland in a customs union with the EU. Opposition leader Jeremy Corbyn said the defeat signalled that May's time was up.
The Prime Minister has run down the clock and the clock has been run out on her. Maybe it's time instead we had a general election and the people could choose who their government should be.
Now UK lawmakers face a vote on whether to leave the EU with no deal at all. Some European leaders see that as highly possible and better than giving in to the hardline Brexiteers.
The likelihood of a no-deal Brexit is more than 50%. I'm sure that this is really what I feel. But again, the damage that this would cause would, well, pale in comparison with the damage that would be caused by conceding basically the destruction of the single market.
The British public is just as divided as their politicians. With just 16 days to go till the Brexit deadline, no deal could be just around the corner.
Well, will it? Let's go now to London, and DW's Bagot Moss. Joining us from Strasbourg is DW's Max Hoffman. Good morning to both of you. Let's start with London, Bagot. What's it looking like after the massive defeat last night? Will we see a no-deal Brexit today in Parliament?
Well, it's expected that Parliament is voting against just that scenario, Brian. So we're expecting that MPs really think that crashing out of the European Union at the end of March, so in just 2 weeks' time, is for many of them something that they want to avoid at all costs. And there is a vote later on, and it's expected that it's going to vote it against. So the question, of course, what comes next? And the government and really Parliament here in the UK is in absolute disarray. We don't know what's going to happen. You've mentioned Jeremy Corbyn in your piece, the leader of the opposition, asking for fresh elections. And that's something that even some loyalists in Theresa May's own party are asking for. So the future, as of today, extremely unclear.
OK, Max, if, as expected, as we just heard there from Bagot, Parliament kicks this very battered can down the road once again, will the EU give London more time and a chance for more talks?
There have already been voices today, Brian, of politicians in the European Union, for example, a minister in Germany, calling for a good explanation to actually accept an extension of this Article 50 period, effectively delaying Brexit, because they say if we're in exactly the same position after this extension as now, where's the benefit of that? So they're asking the British government to come up with a plan. What is this for? Do you want a second referendum or snap elections? Those are reasons, possible reasons that have been given in the past, for instance, by the French president, Emmanuel Macron. So asking the Brits at the moment to come up with a plan like that doesn't seem very likely. So the EU will be in a dilemma. If the British government really asks for an extension, it most likely will be without a very precise perspective for this extension. What do they do then? Because there is a lot of sympathy for granting this extension. But also, like I said, there's the argument, where's the benefit of it if we're exactly in the same position afterwards?
OK, a dilemma for the European Union. What about Theresa May, Bagot? Could she be forced to step down? Could there be snap elections after her humiliation in Parliament last night?
Anything can happen any day, Brian. It's really, we're living in exciting times here in the UK. Some of her loyalists are even saying that it's time for a fresh start. And fresh energy. But then again, Theresa May has shown extraordinary resilience over the past months. She has lost vote after vote on this Brexit process, and she has also endured a lot of backstabbing from within her own party. And nevertheless, she really has soldiered on. There are several people that are in her Conservative Party that are supposedly preparing for a leadership for leadership context within the party, but it's all speculation. We don't know. As of today, as of now, we don't have any indication that Theresa May is intending to throw in the towel anytime soon.
Okay, Max, what's it looking like there in Strasbourg and in Brussels? Are EU leaders, business leaders included, worried that the confusion we're seeing in Britain will wash over the continent and affect commerce, trade, travel?
They were more worried a couple of months ago. And if you think about it, it's logic, especially if you're a business leader. What do? Do you wait until the 29th of March to really prepare the Brexit? No, of course not. They were sensing that this might go haywire. So a lot of companies on the continent, including, of course, a lot of German companies that do a lot of trade with the UK, have already taken their dispositions. They have prepared that. They have looked for different business partners. So when we talk to business leaders in Germany, many of them say, let them just get out. At least we don't have any uncertainty anymore. And uncertainty is a killer for business. They say it'll be difficult in the beginning, but it'll be better than continuing what we have right now for so long. It won't be as bad as many expect. So this is a bad sign for the Brits because it takes away some of their leverage. We've even heard that argument now from politicians in Brussels and in Strasbourg saying, we don't want this to continue. We're sick and tired of it. Let them go out and maybe they'll realize what it actually means to have a no-deal Brexit, and then we have the rubble of what Brexit is, and we'll be able to build something on that.
Okay, Birgit, we have news just coming in that in the event of a no-deal Brexit, the government's willing to end a whole raft of tariffs it puts on foreign goods. How could that fit into the equation? Have you been hearing anything about that?
Well, of course, it means a big problem for British companies, because if all of a sudden there are no import tariffs from across the world, that means that goods are going to be much cheaper. So we've had a reaction from Caroline Fairbairn, who's heading the biggest business organization here in the UK, and she said this is really no way to run a country. There wasn't any consultation. So really a furious reaction from business. But of course, it's also designed to have in mind the border in Northern Ireland, to prevent a hard border between the Republic of Ireland and Northern Ireland in the future, which we remember is the most contentious issue in the whole Brexit negotiation, and is one reason why the deal that Theresa May has proposed to Parliament failed again yesterday.
And we'll have much more from Birgit Moss in London and Max Hoffman in Strasbourg throughout the day. For now, thanks so very much.